Oh, God, people, it's been a minute. First things first. Hello, people. It's your boy Osman back again with another stream. Very impromptu, not planned, and quite frankly, probably the only two people might watch this, but I don't really care. I just want to get this off my chest because, as you can see from the title, Jadon Sancho is being swapped with Raheem Sterling. Where do I even start? Where do I even start? The first things first, right? As you can see, I've not been on for a while, so I'm a bit of an amateur. I don't even know why I put this little ticker on, but why not? As you can see from there, the logo is no longer there. Sad times, but I haven't streamed for a long time, so I thought there's not really much point paying for StreamYard, considering I'm not using it. But has to come out of time for this one. That being said, as always, slap a like, subscribe, channel, all that good stuff. You never know, it might be the arc of my return. You never know. But yeah, Manchester United are in the business of selling players at the moment. Which, look, before we get to Jadon Sancho and the Raheem Sterling stuff, I just want to start with this caveat that we've had a fantastic window. I just want to get that out from the jump. We have had a fantastic window. For me personally, probably the best window we've had post Sir Alex Ferguson is definitely up there. When I say the best window, I'm talking about overall in terms of net spend. It's been on job. We've removed players from the wage structure. We've let players go. We've brought in players on good value for money. For me personally, yes, there are still areas that we need to improve. There's no mistake in that. But that is only temporary. If this next transfer happens, for me, it will undo a lot of the good work. Of course, there will be a lot of people within the United fan base that are extremely elated with a certain individual leaving. But on the flip side, you have to look at the individuals that's potentially coming in. And for me personally, I don't understand why on earth we would be interested in a certain individual. But we'll get into that very shortly. Just want to quickly address the elephant in the room, which is where the hell have you been, Osman? Because, like I said, maybe like 5 people might watch this, and one of the 5 people is going to be someone that's been my day one fan in terms of like supporting the channel and showing love. So for you, this is the message to you and you only. I've been busy with work. I've been focusing on my career, obviously, doing podcasting and that kind of thing. I love it. I love to bits. I still do it actually on other platforms, predominantly like the United Stand, that for example. I still work a lot in sport and have done, hence this is on my chest here. Obviously, you probably noticed that, but if you haven't, I'm joking. It's just any opportunity to get the badging. But yeah, honestly, I've just been busy. I've been prioritizing other things. Unfortunately, the podcasting world didn't work out for me in terms of like success and all that good stuff. But in my personal life, in terms of my career, that's obviously been flourishing. So I've been focusing all my attention and all my energy into that. In my spare time, basically just, I don't really know what I've been doing in that sense, but in general, I've just been focusing on that. So I apologize for anyone that's been on what the hell, this guy's just disappeared and come back. But yeah, that's basically the reason. Obviously, I've been focused on my career, as you can imagine. This was always a hobby for me, as I've always said, from a very long time. I met some incredible people through my podcasting. And honestly, a lot of those people I'm very close to this day. Obviously, speak to them every single day on WhatsApp. So like Jerry, Kojo, Ty, Benji, Kish. I don't think Kish appeared enough. Ali, obviously my brother Was. But yes, so many other people that I met in the podcast game. I'm extremely grateful that I met them because I consider them as my brothers today. So by all means, I wasn't potentially successful in terms of numbers and the rest of it, but I was, without a shadow of a doubt, successful in terms of actually finding genuine brothers that support each other and uplift each other. But yeah, now we've got that sort of patheticness out of the way. We do not agree on a lot of things, and I am absolutely losing my mind in the WhatsApp group, which is hence why I'm sat here in front of you lovely people today on a very rare blue moon occasion with this video, because the truth of the matter is I'm absolutely fuming with the fact that Manchester United are selling their best winger in Jadon Sancho. Yes, you heard me correctly. Manchester United are selling their best winger, Jadon Sancho, swapping their best winger, Jadon Sancho, for Raheem Sterling, which is absolutely farcical. I can't comprehend that as a notion. Why on earth would Manchester United, under this new structure that have done great work in this window thus far, want to throw that all away and essentially go back to what Woodward would do, signing these big name marquee signings, signing players for the sake of signing players on high wages with little to no future ahead of them in the twilight or the dying embers of their career for maybe one, maximum 2 seasons, and then have an asset on your hands that you can't dispose of because the wages are astronomically high and the player, quite frankly, doesn't want to leave, and nor does he have to leave because he's contracted to at least another 2 or 3 years on ridiculous wages. So for me, I do not understand the deal. Just just specifically from the point of, logically understanding it. I mean, it's an absolute joke. Why would we even be interested in him? And yes, people may say, the one person that watches this in the comment section may say, that's all speculation. It's all rumors. There's no truth to this. And what, to be honest, we could come out tomorrow and say this are complete false. And look, at the end of the day, maybe I'm being overreactionary because obviously there may not be any truth to these rumors in terms of Sterling for Sancho. But the truth of the matter is Sancho is going, and obviously we'll address that very shortly. But regarding Sterling, I just don't understand the profile. It doesn't make much sense to me. At the end of the day, he's very similar to Marcus Rashford. Yes, people can make claims that Sterling's better than Rashford in certain aspects or certain attributes. But the truth of the matter is we're not really solving the issue. We're essentially doubling the current issue, which is Marcus Rashford. I mean, for me, Sterling just falls under the same category as Marcus Rashford in terms of, he has certain attributes that help him score goals, but his overall game, what's the wording? I can't remember the exact wording or the terminology, but basically it's not something that you desire on a football pitch. At the end of the day, we've already got Bruno Fernandes, we've got Marcus Rashford, we've got Alejandro Garnacho, all very similar players in terms of very erratic, lack control, lack composure on the ball, lack creativity in Garnacho and Rashford's sense. And they don't really offer much in terms of, providing opportunities for the forward. So why would you add another player in Raheem Sterling that isn't really known for doing that? Of course, I would say Raheem Sterling is definitely better than Rashford and Garnacho in terms of creating chances. I don't think many people would disagree with that, but the same in the same vim, or it's not really an upgrade, is it? I mean, it's just tit for tat, really. At the end of the day, like, they're not really much of an upgrade on each other. I just don't think Rashford should be at the club anyways. But bringing another player like Sterling that could potentially be in a situation, as I've already alluded to, in a year's time where we can't get him off the books because no one really wants to sign him. He's surplus to requirements. He's on high wages. We can't get rid of him. And then we've got him and Rashford at the club, both essentially sulking together because they're both not starting enough minutes or they compete with each other for a position, which of course would mean the other person's sort of role within the team is at a detriment. I mean, we just don't need more potential toxicity in the team. I just don't get it. I mean, there's no disrespect to say. I think he's proven himself in the Premier League to be a bona fide goal scorer, if you want to call him that. He's shown that he's got goals wherever he's gone. It's not worked out for Chelsea for whatever reason, but why are we taking Chelsea's trash is absolutely baffling to me. And also on the flip side, he is also ex-Liverpool and ex-Manchester City. So from the jump, I said no. I know people say Michael Owen signed for United. That was under Sir Alex Ferguson, the greatest manager that the Premier League's ever seen. So he can do whatever he wants. And he's got proven track record of winning trophies and integrating anybody into the team, regardless of who they are, personality, age, etc., etc. And he had a very specific role for Michael Owen. And I just don't think Ten Hag has got the capabilities of doing that for Manchester United in this scenario. So I just don't think it's comparable. Of course, people can make those comparable and juxtapositions. That's just not for me. I like to keep it 100. And the truth of the matter is, both Sterling and Marcus Rashford are not good enough for Manchester United. In saying that, would Sterling be one of our better wingers? Probably. But that's not really an achievement because I don't actually rate a lot of the wingers currently at the club. I don't personally think Garnacho is as good as people say he is. I do think he has a lot of potential and I will be a bit patient with him. However, I do think he's massively overhyped. Therefore, I am absolutely livid we are selling Jadon Sancho because I do think we are in desperate need of a bit of creativity in the final third. As we've seen thus far in the Premier League, We haven't really been creating enough chances. We haven't really been creating enough opportunities. So why are we selling another player that is actually capable of creating those chances? Granted, he's not doing it in a Man United shirt, but he's shown time and time again in a yellow shirt that he is capable of playing a certain style of football, in particular when your team is retaining the ball, which is apparently what this manager is wanting to achieve. So for me, I just think it's absolutely baffling that this manager is not giving him opportunity this season. Thought he had a great preseason, but of course, Eric Ten Hag had other ideas. He wants to keep Rashford, he wants to keep Anthony, and for me, that is a massive mistake. Look, at the end of the day, regarding Jadon Sancho, whatever your opinions are, which most likely will be of bad taste towards Sancho, I'm sure we'd all agree that he has a lot of talent. Unfortunately, he hasn't applied that at Manchester United. I would hold my hands up and wholeheartedly say that. He definitely hasn't shown the best Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. I've never once claimed he has. However, a 23 to 24-year-old over a 29-year-old is absolutely ridiculous business for any club, let alone Manchester United, who've already been in this scenario where we've signed old players, i.e. Jadon Sancho, Alexis Sanchez. We saw how that one panned out. We currently got one already with Casemiro on the books. Similar situation, older player, fantastic first season, but his legs unfortunately have gone. We're now got a player on our hands, surplus requirements on very high wages, and not very much interested. So for me, it just seems like a ridiculous thing to repeat the same mistakes, expecting different outcome. Again, if this was Raheem Sterling at 24, 25, then of course this would be a completely different conversation, and I would probably swap Sterling for Sancho, mainly because Sancho doesn't really want to be here for numerous different reasons, but that is not the case. So, to conclude, my personal opinion on the matter is of this. Jadon Sancho should not be getting sold. However, I've come to terms with the fact that that is already something that is happening. So I just have to, accept it for what it is. David Ornstein has come out and, got on the record saying it does look like Manchester United are interested in selling him. And there are two offers on the table, one from Juventus and one from Chelsea. Personally, do not understand the Chelsea one at all, as I've already gone into much detail explaining that one. The Juventus deal, of course, that would mean he goes on a permit deal. Again, that's fine. I don't mind, us getting rid of him if that is what the manager wants. I don't personally agree with it, but at the end of the day, the manager's made it extremely clear that Sancho's not part of his plan, and we have to accept that for what it is, although I don't feel that the manager knows what he's talking about. But that is a completely different conversation that we don't need to impact today. That being said, the Juventus one is fair. I think the price is a bit on the lower side, but we are extremely late into the transfer window, so I don't expect there to be much negotiation and, much pushback from Manchester United perspective. I'm pretty confident that we are eager to get rid of the player, and I think we're probably going to accept the bid, which looks like it's 40 million euros. Like I said, I think that's extremely low, and Katie has just been sold for 30 essentially. So you can't tell me Sancho's only worth 10 million euros more than Nketiah. I just think that's ridiculous. Obviously, we sold McTominay for like 25 as well. Again, I feel like Sancho's worth more. But again, we're not going to get more money for him, given the lateness of the window, should we say. So yeah, it is what it is. So I think it is best if he goes to Juventus. For both parties, of course, Eric Ten Hag made it very clear he doesn't want him. For me, it's a massive mistake. I've said it on numerous occasions. He's our best winger. I think Eric Ten Hag has got blood on his hands to keep Marcus Rashford and Anthony at the club. That for me, in particular, Anthony has shown absolutely nothing to warrant him a squad position over Jadon Sancho. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can't make a case for it. I don't care what anyone says. People will say the attitude. People will say it's work rate. I'm sorry, we don't care about work rate. We need work rate and talent. Both go hand in hand. And secondly, his attitude. Again, that's an absolute myth that has been debunked, because Eric Ten Hag has come out on record and said they've squashed their beef, so to speak. And then a week later, he's dug Sancho out again. How can a manager come out and say, "No, what, we've squashed that beef"? and then literally a week later, then take a dig at that same player that you've apparently squashed to beat. So for me, that's why I stick to what I've said. I think it's an Eric Ten Hag situation. I think his ego got bruised and he couldn't handle it the same way it got bruised under, Cristiano Ronaldo. You had a fallout with Ronaldo. Apparently, had a fallout with Varane. There was issues with Casemiro. He's had issues with so many players. I've lost count. So for me, I definitely think it's an Eric Ten Hag problem. He can't manage to save his life, and I massively think he's gonna. He's massively going to get exposed, basically, what I'm trying to say. And I think a lot of United fans will see the light eventually, but this is a massive mistake, especially if you're swapping for Sterling. I just think this is a ridiculous mistake. We're getting rid of one of our most talented wingers. Granted, he hasn't covered himself in glory, but it's not something we couldn't have fixed. It's unfortunate he hasn't been given a fair chance. I mean, the fact that Marcus Rashford still plays ahead of him, especially when the reason for Sancho not making the squad is for lack of attitude or whatever, not having great attitude, so to speak. I mean, Rashford doesn't have a good attitude on the pitch. Yeah, he starts week in, week out. So for me, I don't think it's a fair case that Eric Ten Hag has made against the player, and I find it absolutely baffling how our fans have just completely ate it up for what it is. It's an absolute con. You can't say on one side that Eric Ten Hag can't say on one side that I don't want to pick Marcus Rashford for his poor attitudes, poor work ethic, and so forth. And then on the flip side, start Marcus Rashford week in, week out. I mean, that's quite clearly contradiction. I mean, you're just contradicting yourself. You're starting one player that doesn't work hard, has an attitude problem, and you're basically banishing another player for the exact same reason. I mean, if he held them both in the same regard and banished them both, fair enough. He's a man of principle. He wants to stick to his beliefs, and you know what? I'd have to accept it for what it is. But the fact that he's treated Sancho differently compared to other players that are far worse, in my personal opinion, in terms of ability, attitude, and work ethic, it just screams an agenda, and a personal agenda for that matter. But again, like I said, the manager's made his choice. It's an absolute mistake, especially when the manager's not going to survive another 3-4 months, realistically speaking, if he continues in the manner in which he's already started the season. Yeah, it's just baffling. That being said, Raheem Sterling, absolutely not. What a mistake that would be. I really hope that is not the case. I really hope we do not fall for another trap, basically. A club absolutely putting the pants down of Manchester United Football Club. I don't understand how anyone logically can justify us signing Raheem Sterling or swapping Raheem Sterling for Sancho. It's mind-boggling. It's brought me out of retirement. Put it that way. I was that fuming. I said I have to just hop on. I don't care if 2 people watch it. I have to hop on and speak my mind because I can't get my head around us wanting to do that deal. Everything that Ineos has done well in this window, signing young talent for good money on good wages, pushing out the older players on big wages, and really trying to, change the culture at the club. Everything that they've done well, they would just throw it out the window for Jadon Sancho. For Raheem Sterling. It would be honestly so confusing, and I hope it isn't the case. I don't mind if he goes to Juventus. It is what it is. I personally would have inquired about Chiesa. It does look like Chiesa's on his way to Juventus. For 10 million, I'm surprised we haven't even shown interest in that, because I think Chiesa's got a lot of talent and a lot of ability. I think he would have been good for that right wing position to help Ahmad as well. It's a bit more experience. Yes, his injury record's not fantastic, but yeah, for me, if you're going to give them Sancho, at least take someone in return. I think Chiesa would have been a good option, obviously with money on top of that. But he is destined for Liverpool, and no doubt he will have a fantastic career there because he's a top quality player when he's available for selection. That being said, to conclude, if this deal happens, I will lose my mind. Honestly, I do not want Raheem Sterling anywhere near Manchester United. Of course, let me know your thoughts down below when you watch this on repeat and so forth, but it would be absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So hopefully it doesn't happen. Of course, time will tell. We've only got a few more days for the window to close. I have got quite a bit of work in the next couple of days, but maybe I can do a show on the Friday if you want that. Obviously, if this gets 1 like, 1 like on the video, maybe I will do that. Obviously, let me know. But yeah, that being said, I'm just going to wrap up on a positive. Scott McTominay has finally left Manchester United. Just quickly on that, as Jerry would say, he's undefeated, and thankfully Jerry was wrong. He finally got defeated. Scott McTominay has made his way to Napoli. I believe 20 to 25 million. I mean, fair play to Conte for bringing him to Napoli. Absolute goal. Conte, I have nothing but respect for you. Thank you for making that a possibility. No longer have to see Scott McTominay in a Manchester United shirt. I'm absolutely buzzing. Yes, he scored some integral goals for us, especially last season. And he's been clutch in terms of his goals, but let's keep it a buck. He was never good enough for Manchester United Football Club. I mean, he's had a good career at United in terms of his stats and all that, all that. But for me, he'll always be remembered for that Man City goal, that Brentford brace, and just a couple of his knee slides because they were absolutely iconic. So, wish you all the best, Scott. Not that you're watching, but wish you all the best in Italy. Obviously, Conte is the manager. Lukaku's there. Gilmore, I think, is going to sign for Napoli as well. So a bit of Scottish connection in the middle of the park. I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, so I'm sure he'll have a fantastic career. I'm sure they'll take to him in the Maradona Stadium. So yeah, wish him all the best. Not going to tune into any of the games anytime soon. But that being said, a massive positive all in all. It's been a fantastic window. Ineos in the first window have been absolutely fantastic. Apart from potential swap deal that is on the cards, I would be absolutely livid, as I've already explained in this video. But man, I think as a Manchester United fan, you have to be happy with the window. You have to be positive. I think it's been a great window. We've addressed pretty much most of the problems. Yes, there are definitely two glaringly obvious holes in the team. In the centre mid department, there's no backup really for Kobe Mainoo. And of course, in the left back department, I think them two are the biggest issues. For me, if Sancho goes, I would say we need another winger. No, not Sterling. I'm not desperate. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But anyways, just want to come back on, talk to you lovely people. Like I said, I'm not expecting anyone to watch this. It might just be one person. It might just be two people. Who knows? But for those that have tuned in, thank you very much. As always, slap a like, subscribe to the channel. Maybe I'll do more shows in the next couple of weeks because I'm not particularly busy with work at the moment. So maybe I'll come back. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, apart from that, it's been your boy, Usman. And yeah, we will catch you hopefully on the next one. Peace.